Thank you all for coming out to our tech hour. Today we're going to talk about DocuSign, and it's so entitled Dancing with DocuSign. And the reason why we chose this title is because there seems to be a lot of processes that DocuSign may have, and anybody that's used to using .loop, it is a bit different. And so I just wanted to make sure that you understand the process and what you have to interact with DocuSign so that you can make it work for you. All right. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask at any point in time. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. And we will start from the process of you've already gotten your contact in and you're in your opportunity. And so when we click on an opportunity, actually, let's go ahead. Let's just create an opportunity from there. All right, so we're going to create a buyer opportunity. When you're creating an opportunity, make sure you're putting in your broker's initials in front, just so that they could be able to see your compliance when you are ready for compliance portion of the process. Anything that has a star, like this red star, you can go ahead and fill in. All of this information can be filled in later. The only thing that you cannot do later is change the opportunity type. Okay, so this opportunity type also determines what your checklist is going to look like. Okay, and so your checklist is going to be this. And see how you have Virginia buyer. If you had chosen listing, then there would be a whole nother set of documents that the compliance brokers would be looking for. Okay, so just make sure that you are selecting which checklist you would like, and that would be from the buyer or the listing side. Okay, so we'll just say that this is Virginia buyer. Like I said, these are going to be all of your documents that they're going to be looking for, the brokers. And so once you have that checklist there, you can start a transaction. Now, starting a transaction, this is going to immediately launch DocuSign for you. Okay. So I've already got my information saved in there. All right. And so now you're inside of DocuSign, you're seeing your client's information and the opportunity name and the ID. And so that's how you can confirm that your opportunity is actually connected to your design or your DocuSign room. Okay. So once you come in, the first thing I like to do is start in the details section. And what this is this is a pre-fill of your documents. Okay. And so you can edit this by clicking on this edit button, and you can put in whatever information you need. So because we're dealing with the buyer, that buyer's information is already there. If you have an email, I don't know if I have his email, but what I'll do is I'll just put in my email. Now, one thing to remember is this address is the mailing address of your client. Okay. If it's the same as the location, so this is going to be a buyer. This is going to be a buyer. So this is going to be a different, this location is going to be the location of the actual home. Okay. So if you're filling in this, just remember that it's going to be different. and it's not going to show up in the correct places or in the places that you're expecting it to show up because it may be a different address. Okay. Um, buyer two, there is no buyer two. I don't know why I put my information in, but buyer agent. Okay, so yeah, that's perfect. For this is going to be your brokerage. So just make sure you just put KW Metro Center.
Hey, Barney, Eduardo here. Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
So I'm here. I set up a profile for my buyers, and I need to write an offer. Uh, uh, if you have already covered, please forgive me because I was on the phone with them. We have a deadline to send an offer. Did you cover how to bring, how to fill out, like, for example, like an offer? Or are you
Oh,
going?
this is not. So this is just to understand how to use DocuSign.
Mhm.
Um, but no, I have not gotten to the part where we get the documents, but we will get there.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Alrighty. So once you put in your client's information, fill in all of your information, you can then start to fill in the information that you have already for the contract that you're going to be putting in or the offer you're going to be putting in. This is where all of that tax information is going to be, and so you can fill in your information as you have it and just hit save at the bottom, which I've already done. And so now once you filled in all this pre-fill information, now you go over to get your documents. And I think Eduardo, this is what you were asking about.
Yep.
So, um, so essentially you come over to the add documents and you would click on DocuSign forms. Okay.
Mhm.
And so then here you have a couple of different drop downs. When you have document forms library, if you have that clicked and then you click on the second drop down, you're going to see a bunch of different folders. So because I am technically signed up in the Arlington and the Old Town office, I see both of their office documents. Okay. And what office documents are is like the affiliated business disclosure, W-9s. It's going to be for your protection, get a home warranty. I mean, all of the documents that are not in bar that we need for our clients. And so if you're in the Old Town office, it's going to be 781. If you're in Arlington, it's going to be 726. If you're in Tyson's, it's going to be 375. Okay, but you're only going to have one in there. Now, the NVAR documents, these are going to be all of the Northern Virginia Association of Realtors documents. And because I only belong to the NVAR board, I'm only going to see that. If you belong to NVAR and GCAR or NVAR, GCAR, and PGCAR or some combination of that, then you're going to see whatever that is. But for you to see the documents from the board, you're going to have to belong to the board to see those documents. Okay. So I get to see Virginia Association of Realtors and Northern Virginia Association of Realtors. And these are going to be all the documents. So if you clicked on that, these are going to be every single document that's available to you as a board member. Okay. Now, our office has taken it one step further and we've assigned a set of groups. And so if you were to click on group instead of library, and now you click on the bottom drop down, then you're going to see all of the documents that are available to you, all the groupings that are available to you. Now, even though you do see these groupings, you're still going to have to belong to the board to see the documents. Okay. So for instance, I don't belong to GCAR, but let's say the GCAR doc or what is this GCAR contract forms. So I'm not able to see anything but the office documents because I don't belong to the board. Now, because I do belong to Virginia, I can see all of these. Okay. So we're going to be doing, so the buyer agreement forms are going to be forms that for your representation packet. Okay. And so that's what these forms are for. If you want to write an offer on a home, that would be your sales contract documents or your residential sales contract documents. It just depends on which office you're in. You're going to see one of these two. Okay. And so it's going to be a group of forms. So for your representation, you're going to click on this and you're going to see all of the documents. So this is going to be an NVAR form, but see this KW 781, these are going to be your office documents. Okay. So you're going to have to, the way that you find out what you actually need in here for compliance is that you go back to command, and that's what this checklist is. Okay. So this checklist is going to show you what's required. And then at the bottom, it's going to show you what's conditionally required. So, um, so now we're going back to DocuSign, and in DocuSign, you're just going to click on the documents that you need. Okay. So you're going to need the exclusive right to represent a buyer agreement, affiliated business disclosure, buyer home warranty, do not become a victim of wire fraud, for your protection, useful information about transactions. This is a D4 disclosure. That's a 4-page addendum that's brand new. These two are conditional. Okay. The COVID addendum, we do not recommend you using this unless one one of the sides is really pushing for it. But essentially, it just gives either side a way out of the contract, and that's something that you don't want outside of anything else that's available to them. So be very careful when you're getting your client or getting the other side to sign that. The buyer's acknowledgement of potential adverse consequences. This is a document in which there's sometimes where we're getting our clients to, write offers, removing some contingencies or all contingencies. And so this just outlines the fact that we've talked to them about, what the risks are for doing that, and that they agree that they're okay with moving forward with doing that. Okay, so that document just protects you. So you only need to fill that out based on what your offer is. And if you need that sort of coverage to say, okay, hey, we talked about this. We talked about the fact that, you're going to have the, you're opening up yourself to some level of risk, and you're in agreement with it. And then they sign it, everybody's happy. Okay. So these are the documents you're going to need off the bat. You hit add, and now all of these documents show up. Okay. So once you get the documents to show up the way that you want them to be, you can click on them. All right. Maybe you have to wait. Form is not available. All right. Let's see if this form is available.
Hey, Barney, I'm going through the same. So what's going on? Is this, I'm getting the exact same message.
Um, DocuSign Forms is not currently available. All right, let me just see if that's just this room or is it all of my rooms.
Yeah, just as information, like I'm getting the same messages that you are. And this has been going on since Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's not. Maybe they're working on DocuSign, which is probably not the best time to do that. But um, hmm. All right. So that's not working. Let's see if we can create an envelope. So let's just assume that you're able to access these. You click on each of these, you'd fill in, these are all live forms. So you would fill in the information that you would need to fill them in. Um, and then you would, once everything is filled in the way that you'd want to present it to your client, then you'd come over to envelopes. Envelopes is a way that we get everything signed by your clients. And so you'd create a new envelope, you'd name it whatever. So let's say this is the buyer's representation packet. You would select your documents. So all your documents. And actually, one thing to remember when selecting documents is the order in which you select them is the order in which they will show up in the envelope. Okay, and that's the order that they will be signed. But if you somehow forget, you can still drag and drop them in the way that you'd like. So, um, okay, so we can't add any documents. Hmm. So, Eduardo, you said you've been having this issue since Sunday.
Correct. So I thought it was a problem like on my accounts being coordinated, but seeing that you're suffering here too, that tells me that there's something wrong with the system. Might not be on the DocuSign end, but might be on our KW Metro sign end.
Well, is that what DocuSign told you? Is that they already?
No, I'm getting the exact same. That's just an educated guess.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Yeah. Only thing I can think of, and I since you if you've been having it since Sunday, um, this is probably not gonna work.
So is
But
there a way to download these forms and fill out in PDF and have them manually sign it?
well, I mean, you can always go to the board, go to nvar.com or nvar, whatever their whatever it may be DPOR, whatever the site is, and you can always download them directly. Um, let's see if you can download them here. I doubt if you would download it because you can't even access them here, but it's worth a shot. Yeah, they're not even giving us the option to download. Let's see, email. Yeah, please confirm you could not be obtained. All right, so it's up and running now.
So what did you do? Did you do anything special?
I just clicked on the document.
Okay, so let me see if I can get it.
All right, so essentially what you do, click on the document. Anything that you filled in previously, it should show up. So for instance, I put in, I mean, my client's name was already, that came in from command. Um, the mailing address. So I put in my client's mailing address over in details, and that shows up here. Okay. Um, now, the brokerage email address or mailing address, that did not show up. But essentially, you'd go through, you'd fill out, all of these documents. Um, one thing to know, let's see, Catherine Jouet. So Catherine Jouet is my broker, and there's usually an issue here.
Can I ask a quick question, Barney?
1 second. So it looks like that is not going to be an issue here. But typically, just beware. Like if you put in KW Metro Center, and it may not be this document. We'll try to find it. I think it may be on the actual contract itself, but when you have those two in the document, it's going to change this. Okay, so you're going to have to do something a little bit different. But what's your question, Eduardo?
So Catherine Joy is my broker, but she doesn't. Like, for example, I created this room for these buyers that I'm working with.
Okay.
And I'm click on the people tab, and Joy doesn't show up as my broker. I see Jim Lyons there, but not Joy.
Well, Jim Lyons is not added there because he's your broker. He's an admin to all
Okay.
of our DocuSign, to like DocuSign for our brokerage.
Uh-huh.
So he's not there because he's your broker. Brokers aren't assigned to DocuSign. So once you've added them in, like once you're using them, then they'll automatically remember that's a name and email that you constantly use.
Uh-huh.
And so then you'll be able to add them.
So I had to like click on the invite for Joy.
No, I wouldn't invite her to the room. So we're just going to add her when you're ready to in the envelope. We're just going to add her as a person that needs to sign.
Okay, got it. Thank you. And is it possible, because I see the default is the room docs folder under the documents. Is it possible that I created two different folders, one for the buyer rep agreement and the other one for the like a sales contract, to segregate them and make my life and they're easier. Is it possible to migrate those documents? Because when I downloaded from our offices group, it went automatically to the room docs.
Yeah, that's what it typically does is just goes to the room docs. So if you want to add a folder, so then you have this, oh, all right.
I figured it out, easy.
Yeah, so you just take it, drag it up, and make sure that it's outlined, and then it's up there.
Yeah, easy to
Okay,
do.
so yeah, it's pretty easy to do that. So yeah, if that's something that you're interested in, you can definitely do that. Otherwise, you can just move them between the two. Um, and so once we have that, so let's assume that we filled out everything that we want to fill in. Then we're going to go to envelopes, and we're going to go back to the envelope that we opened, and we're going to room docs. We're going to add in all of our documents that we wanted to get signed for that representation packet, and we're going to add selected.
And please let me know when you're ready. I have a next question.
Yep, you can ask a question.
Thank you. There was a service that Jim Lyons was setting up that instead of the agent, once the contract is in place, they would take and run with it as far as the all the things that need to be done for us to get to closing.
Yeah.
Do you know the name of the person that I should contact?
No, just contact Jim Lyons though. It's their TC services. transaction coordination services.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, I mean, I think it's ETS, or I forget the name of the actual service, but you can actually, I mean, you can contact them and he'll get you in contact with them.
Got it. I'll give Jim a call.
Perfect. Alrighty. So once you're ready to, so you have the documents here, and now what we're going to do is we're going to add the recipients. Okay. So you're going to use pre-tag roles. The reason why we use pre-tag roles is because it looks through all of the documents that we have, and it understands who needs to sign what. And so the pre-tag roles is looking at all of these different roles here, and you're saying, okay, well, I represent the buyer. That's buyer one. If there are two buyers, you put in two buyers. You have a buyer broker, and it doesn't look like there's a place for an agent to sign, only because there's no buyer agent here. Okay. So it's only two people that's going to be signing. And this is where you put in, your client's information. And actually, let me delete these because you could have done them there as well. So pre-tag roles, uh, you have buyer one and you have buyer broker. Okay. So over here, you can put in your buyer one. So that's where we have that. And now the buyer broker, because that's not already in, you just add selected. And now here, I'll just type in Catherine Jouet. So that's not coming up. I wonder, is it saved here? All right. So it's not saved on this computer, but I have another computer I use a lot more. And that one it's saved on. But anyway, I know her. Yeah, that's not the right one. All right. So once you have your recipients here, over on the left side, this is your process management system. Okay. So essentially what it's going to do is right now, it's going to send the documents out to the buyer and to the broker for signature. And both of them can sign at the same time. But in actuality, you want the broker to sign second. And so the broker is not going to sign until the buyer signs, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to say buyer is going to sign first, broker is going to sign second. So really, the email is going to go out to the buyer first, and then once they sign, then it'll sign a signed copy over to the broker. Okay, then the broker will get to review and they will sign. Now, the broker is only signing the exclusive right to represent. They're not signing anything else. And that's the reason why we have to do compliance, because they have not reviewed any of this other stuff. They've only reviewed the piece that they have to sign. Okay. So what we're going to do is if you wanted to send a separate message to your client, you can do more and then add private. Okay. Add private message, type in whatever you want, and go from there. If you wanted to send a message to everybody at the same time, then you just add the message here. Okay. So it's just two different things. So once you get everything the way that you like it, you hit next. And actually, let's do something.
And quick question, on some residential sales contract, is our name KW Metro Center or Keller Williams Realty?
KW Metro Center.
Thank you.
So you can actually move these documents around how you like. So let's say you wanted this one, let's say you wanted this useful information to show here, just drag drag it up and it'll move to that place. Okay. So get the doc, if you don't add it in correctly, you can always get the documents and you can always drag them to wherever you'd like them to be, and then you'll be okay. And this is the signing order that your clients will see. Okay. So then you'll hit next. And now the first document that shows up should be your exclusive right to represent, and it is. Okay. Now, all of this stuff should be whatever you filled in on the live side. So one thing to note is that I'm going to save and close this. When you're in documents, you'll notice that you have this DocuSign form. Okay. So this is the format that the document is in, meaning it's a live document. Okay. Now, when you go in to envelopes, in the waiting room of the envelope, I call this the waiting room. All of these are live forms. They all say form here. So that means that when you change something in the document side, it's going to show up here. And then when you hit next, this whole process is changing the live document into a PDF. Okay. And so now this is a PDF, like you can't click on it at all. The only way that you can add something to it is on this left side. Okay. So this left side is color coded. You'll have the buyer and then you'll have the broker is blue. So this is signing, initials, date signed, all of that stuff is there for the buyer. If you have something for the broker and you need them to sign it, and to be signed correctly, it needs to be filled out with with the broker's initials or the broker's color coding. Okay. So let's say, for instance, this was not here. All right. And you did your check and you're like, okay, fine. This is not here. Your broker initial, you have to come here and drag and drop it, and you can put it in. Okay. And over here, it's going to say the recipient is Catherine. Now, let's say you made a mistake and this was actually supposed to be for the buyer. Well, you could highlight this and you can say buyer, and now everything is there. Now it's there for the buyer. Okay. But we know because this is brokerage, it's broker, it says for broker. So you change the color, and now Catherine is signing again. Okay. So you'll go through, look at all the documents. Let's say you forgot to put something in provisions. Your clients are, they're saying, they want 1% back. Okay. So you'll go back in, go to the client and put in a text box and say agent agrees to provide buyer 1. Am I going crazy? 1% sales transaction. Okay, so you can put that in and it'll show up here. Okay, so you can make changes on the side. It's just going to be, you have to do it through this. You have check boxes, drop down, radio, all that good stuff. You have all of that there. And so look through the document, make sure that everything is correct. And if everything is correct, and their signatures everywhere that signatures need to be and initials everywhere initials need to be, then you can hit send. Okay, sending it will send it to your clients, and they will be able to look at it, sign it. Okay. Another nifty tool here is you have all of these thumbnails here, and the down arrow means that it's reduced. Okay. So to open it up, that'll be the up arrow, and you'll see those set of documents. If you wanted to do like a quick, you know, search through and you say, okay, I want to see this document, you go to it and you're like, okay, fine, everything is signed or everything is initialed correctly, and you go from there. And then you end up in the useful, and this will automatically roll into it. Okay. It won't just stop. You can go down to the next document. All right. Are there any questions about anything? All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to remove some things just so you can see what something looks like. All right, for your protection, I'll keep that. All right. So delete. We'll just have the buyer, that's H.A. Barney. Next, I'm going to sign something really quick just so you can see what it looks like. So I'll hit send, and now it's over to me for signing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in and sign it really quickly. Review document. Finish. Okay. All right. So it's been finished signed. So it's signed. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh. And it says that it's been signed. Okay. So you can view the document, and you can see that I signed it. So when you're done with that, you're going to come back to documents, and you're going to see this. So you're going to see 781 for protection, get a home inspection dash signed, and then you'll see the original. Okay. Now, once you have that, you can go back into command, and you are going to, for compliance, for your protection, get a home warranty. You're going to add a file, go to DocuSign, and it's going to show all the documents that you have, right? So you're going to see the original here, and just above it, you're going to see the signed copy. Signed copy is what you're going to assign, and you're going to do this for every single one of these, okay? Now, you can see if you uploaded the correct one. You can click on it, you're like, okay, yeah, it's signed. And so now, once you have everything signed and uploaded here, then you submit it to the Market Center. Submitting it to the Market Center is going to be the first time that the broker can see all of your paperwork together to make sure everything is filled in correctly, everything is signed, and that you are covered for the transaction that you have ahead of yourself. Okay, so that is pretty much the process. And that is, us walking through DocuSign and making sure that you're doing things in that same order, so that you don't have any hiccups. Now, as you saw today, there are some times where there are glitches in the system. and it won't allow you to do something like open a document. Um, you know, if that's the case, then sometimes it's best to walk away from it and come back. Sometimes the issues last a little bit longer. So they're definitely working on the system, and they're just trying to make it uh, the most robust that they can. And so it takes a little bit of patience to work through things, but like I said, eventually things usually work out. So with that, I'll just open up the floor for any comments or any questions, or is there anything that you'd like me to go over or that you have concerns about?
Yeah, Barney, quick question here. I'm here like filling out my residential sales contract. So on pricing financing, I put 30%, and then on the line total financing, I want to put 30% there, but it's not letting me. So how do I fill that out?
Okay, so you're in what now?
Residential sales contract on paragraph 2.
So you said you put 30, you're on section 2.
Yeah, like on 2 alpha, 30% there. And then if you go down to the total financing, and we have to put 30% there, right?
Well, this is your down payment. So your financing is going to be, I guess, 70%, right?
Mhm.
So that's what the total financing is going to be. Because the total financing is going to add up these three, because you could have a first trust, second trust, or seller held.
Correct, correct.
So the total financing is going to be a combination of these three.
So it will like do it automatically?
Yeah, it's an automatic thing. It'll just add it up.
Okay, got it. Thank you. So if you don't mind, I just had to reload this. So 30, okay, financing 70%. And yeah, it's not, okay, okay, total finance. Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
Yep, my pleasure.
Mhm.
All righty. Well, if there are no more questions, then I guess we can convene for the day. Hopefully, this has been helpful to you. Like I said, this is just one way of doing it. I mean, you do have the option of using .loop. This is the Keller Williams free version. And so in order to save you a little bit more money, they have this out, for you to use. But if it's not necessarily, if it's harder for you to learn, or if it's something that you are not open to, then yeah, you can definitely, there are definitely other options that you could use. So with that said, if you need any help, feel free to reach out to me. And hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for
Hey,
coming out.
I'll talk to you at 3:15. I signed up for a one-on-one with you.
Okay, that's fine.
Take care. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye.